It's not that. Maybe I'm having mid-century crisis. Every day is the same. For there to be something new to happen? That would be fun.
Hello, Pencil Peeps! This is Joel Guthrie, your favorite animator for Bjorn the Last Unicorn here at Pencil Studios, and I'm here with you in person to walk you through my process for animating a shot on this show. So the first thing we do is we have a Zoom meeting and we go over the shots that Tom wants us to animate and try to interpret that into acting. So this is the clip.
It's not that. Maybe I'm having mid-century crisis. Every day is the same. For there to be something new to happen? That would be fun.
So we look at these poses and we listen to Caleb's vocal delivery, and Tom came up with these list of notes. I have them here. It says he should be looking at the rock when he comes in instead of looking down. Wanted him to hug Hemingway like in the boards and sweep his arm across imagining the future. With those notes in hand, I went into the thumbnail phase. And these are my thumbnails. We call them thumbnails because they're made out of drawings that could literally be as small as your thumbnail, but supposedly bigger than, I guess, your pinky nail or your index fingernail. But basically, we're just figuring out, without worrying about model or anything, very quickly laying in some poses. Maybe I'm having, puts his hoof to his chin, thinking. Then I wanted him to just sort of suddenly snap into this very sort of existential dread pose. Every day is the same. With this 1,000-yard stare. I had two versions here because I thought maybe he should hug Hemingway the rock as he says it. I decided against that in the end. Yeah, forget that. Puts his arm around Hemingway and says, "For there should be something new to happen." And he does the arm sweep like Tom wanted me to do. Looks back at Hemingway when he says, "That'd be fun, you know?" From there, I went into the rough animation phase, and I'm not worrying too much about the in-between poses or making it look smooth or clean. Very rough lines, just to figure out the acting of the animation. Took me a while actually to figure out this first part. The first part was the hardest because he's doing three things at once. He's walking in, then he's also shaking his head while he's talking, and he gestures with his arm. A lot of secondary action, one of the 12 animation principles, as explained by Frank and Ollie. The most challenging thing for me actually was figuring out the rhythm of his head shake. I thought, if he shakes his head like, "It's not that," it would be kind of awkward. But it'd also be too fast if he was like, "It's not that." I actually recorded some live action reference of myself for this. And from that, just starting to shake my head before I even started talking. I kind of analyzed it word for word, what the rhythm would be, and I wrote it in my thumbnails here. So he starts here. That's his first nod. Then he goes, "It's not," is another head shake. That, and then he goes up and he settles into this when he stops walking. So then I sent that to Tom, and his only note was he moves a little too far over between these two poses. You can see his legs there aren't in the same place. So I fixed that in the next pass. You can see his legs now stay put. But he still snaps over and has that goofy timing. With that approved, I moved on to the tie-down phase, and it's where I clean him up. I'm trying to keep him on model and also keep him consistent so that his horn or his ears or his mouth don't change size too much over the course of the shot. And I think, they do if we really wanted to take a fine-tooth comb to it. And I have to be careful because I always want to draw him kind of how I would draw him, so in my roughs, I'll draw him with really big eyes or really big horn, big ears, big head, big mouth. I just like drawing things big, I guess. It's more expressive that way. I have to watch myself. Tom's called me out on it several times. The other challenge of the thing is, this is the model sheet we work with. And it's, the gospel for how to draw Bjorn. but there are a lot of cheats in this. A lot of things that don't work super well when I'm trying to move Bjorn around in 3D or I guess 2D space. For example, in the 3/4 pose, his muzzle goes all the way up to like halfway up his eyes here, but then it suddenly flattens out when he's in front view, so we could see his eyes. This doesn't give any information on how to draw his head at an angle, or if he's like looking down, or head nods are a bit of a challenge because there are no rules for his muzzle. It's the Wild West. This frame, for instance, I had to figure out how do I draw this from a down 3/4 angle. So I have to do some cheating too, but it necessarily has to deviate from the model sheet a bit to work. That too, like how to draw his head down like that. I feel like I'm getting the hang of it, but it's a learning curve. So anyway, those are the tie-down keys. After that, the next stage is preparing it for my very talented in-betweener, one of our in-betweeners, Maddie Williams. And what I did for her was put these timing charts in to tell her how to make the drawings in between these key drawings. For instance, this chart says, okay, this is missing drawings 40 and 42. So here's 38. And we turn on this onion skin, and you can see that this drawing 40 is directly between the red and the green lines. The red means it's the one before, and the green means it's the one after. So she drew one here at 40 directly in between 38 and 44. Then she drew in between here 42 directly between 40, which she had just drawn, and 44. Oh, it's missing a line there. Oops. That's what Maddie did. She did a great job. After she finished with that, I basically went in and did small little corrections like this, where I just fill in any like lines she may have forgotten or revise the timing a bit. After that, we're gonna get the scene moved on to color and it'll look awesome. But here's the final product so far.
It's not that. Maybe I'm having mid-century crisis. Every day is the same. For there to be something new to happen? That would be fun.